Planning your dream wedding on a budget is not impossible. We're going to prove it today. Joining us with tips is Marianne Dennis, owner of All Events Realized. We're talking about budget and planning a beautiful wedding without spending a fortune.
Absolutely.
Let's talk first about budget.
Absolutely. You know, people are afraid to be on a budget. They think they're going to be just tied and locked down to not having wiggle room. So I always say ish. Who doesn't? This ish, that ish,
Yes.
This is the price range for that. And so ultimately you want to stay, one of the things with a budget is the first and foremost is get a venue. And when you're getting a venue, you want to make sure your food, your alcohol, those items all remain within about 55%. If you go to 60, 65, you have very little room for a good photographer, a good DJ, and the rest of the party.
Right, so make sure that you really do stick to that budget, because people do kind of justify it as, oh, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I'm just going to spend, spend, spend. You'll regret it when you have to pay those bills.
Absolutely, and you want to summarize each of the major categories, and you start out with whatever your number is. I say it doesn't matter. Stick to your budget. When you go shopping for a house or a car, you have it in mind, I don't want to go past this number.
Right.
So just throw that number in there and try to make it work. Have a roadmap first.
And consider your guest list carefully is
Absolutely, absolutely, because a lot of times people will look back 10, 15 years ago and who was that? They're looking in the pictures, who is that? And you're spending all this money per plate. Another idea to stay on or under budget is to find a venue that you can bring in your own caterer. It does cut costs, and so maybe the venue might be rented and it might feel like a waste, but when you bring in the caterer of choice, it can really cut the per plate.
Good advice. Now let's move on to the dress.
Okay, yes. I had so much fun about 2 weeks ago on a Sunday. I brought one of my brides. She was wanting to rent a dress. And so it's not unheard of because you don't always wear that dress. It's only one time. And so this bride I brought to the bridal show, and oh my gosh, she got a $1,500 dress for $199 cash and carry.
Unbelievable. So you have to look out for those shows. Make sure you go and see where the closeouts or clearance sales are so that you can really save money there.
Absolutely. You've got to know what looks good on your body. You've got to walk in with a price, and don't forget you're going to be potentially altering it. So alterations are important. Can't speak. Then also you want a veil, you want the shoes, the accessories. So don't just say, here's my number, and put it all in the dress, because then you'll be surprised at the end.
Exactly. So you got to make sure you really think about these details.
Absolutely.
And things do creep up on you, and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. So
Absolutely.
Good thing to remind us. Let's talk about the photographer. Such an important thing. They capture the memories of that big day.
And I think this is the order that most brides really prefer as far as what's priority to them. They want to have a fabulous venue so it looks great. They want to have an incredible dress, but they also want to capture it. And so what you want to do is you want to absolutely make sure that you have, you've got your budget, you have your roadmap, you know what your price range is. Don't shop in a price range that does not fit your budget.
Right.
First. Secondly, you want to make sure you know what is your style. You might see this picture or that, and then you look at a variety of different pictures and it's a gazillion different styles. So you want to know your style. Is it journalistic? Is it portrait? Figure out your style. And then when you're looking at a book, the most important thing is don't look at just the best of. Look at a whole album so that you have a real sense of that photographer.
Yes, exactly. And there are many different wonderful photographers, so make sure you do shop around and check out what they have to offer.
Absolutely.
So later in the show, we're going to be back with Marianne Dennis. We're going to show you easy wedding favors and table numbers you can make yourself. It's going to be amazing when you see exactly what you can do on a budget. Still ahead. Planning a wedding on a budget. We're back with Marianne Dennis, owner of All Events Realized. Now we're going to show you how to make some things yourself. Let's jump right into it. You have some, what is that, split piece?
Why not? There's a variety of ways to do it. You can rent to stay on a budget. You don't have to spend everything on flowers. You can rent. You can actually make with a very inexpensive cylinder vase. Just stick with your color scheme. This is split peas. Over here I've got some kidney beans and
sage green.
Sage green, and then just float a candle. And,
wow.
And call it a centerpiece. Why not?
I'm going to do that in my house. That's so nice. It's such a pretty spring
You
color.
do corn, beans, different things of that nature.
Okay, other things that you can make without spending a fortune.
Okay, so favors is a great way. Instead of the Jordans or what have you, you can get at the dollar store, at pretty much any dollar store, some really cute wine glasses or martini glasses. And then you can put jelly beans, which you'll see up here on the display, or maybe one of my favorites and my daughter's favorite would be
My favorite too.
covered pretzels,
Yeah.
either chocolate or white chocolate or yogurt
Love 'em.
covered pretzels. And so if you'll help me out here and just
Sure.
turn this up like so.
Easy,
And then-
inexpensive.
All we want to do is take a twine and go around it
Okay.
and tie a knot. And then you can also create this as the place card. You could tie on Mr. and Mrs. Smith are sitting at table 5.
Oh, cute. That's their favor.
And that would be their favor, and they could find it and know where to go. And they could put it right in front of there, or you could float it on a martini glass.
So cute. And you want it to be something that people will use that won't just go into a junk drawer.
Sure, or you can take one of the dashes and have these also at a craft store. You can place, you know,
Little chalkboard.
little
These
chalkboard,
are so cute.
which is very trendy. I don't think it's going to go out,
It says,
actually.
thank you, Mary and Joe. So you personalize it.
Personalize
That's
it.
really sweet.
In fact, personalizing jams if you want, or also on the display there's rosemary and oil. People love, you did a cooking segment
Olive
earlier.
oil, so
Why not?
rosemary infused olive oil. What a nice, that's
Certainly.
a nice favor.
And then as far as like the table numbers, for instance, this is a paper clip. This one right here. This is a paper clip. And so what hot glue, paper clip, paper, the ribbon, they're
and
your
look
friends.
at this.
All you have to
That's
do
so
is with a
cool.
paper clip, and then you have both sides, front and back of the table number. You can also take a menu or a table number and put a hole punch. Simply
So
Put a
you
hole punch.
go to the craft store, get some decorative paper, maybe something that goes with your theme, whatever it is, get a little hole punch like this, and then you can make it pretty. And look at how simple. Decorative paper, punch it, and it's so much nicer than just white and black. That would just be not necessarily with your theme.
Exactly. My daughter loves mandarin oranges, and so this is a can. Not expensive, with burlap and a tie, and a little bit of mums.
I'm gonna hold this up because it's so cute. That's all it is. Burlap and a tie. Very inexpensive. Just eat those mandarin oranges because they're good for you too,
Most-
right? And mums, you said, are very inexpensive as well.
Exactly. Most importantly, you want to get your guests up mingling. And so you'll see the Bear Mountain table number. And what's fun about that is that some brides are concerned that the guests are going to just stay at that one table. So to get them up mingling, you might want to put a little tidbit about this is where we fell in love, or this was our first vacation, or we met in June and started really hanging out as good friends.
And my
in
husband
June.
and I did that at our wedding, a place that we spent our relationship, and people were mingling, looking at all of them. So it works. It does work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then last but not least, the napkins. Again, you can get these very simply at any craft store. You can buy them online.
Yep.
And put the little dashes behind of a flowerette.
And a dash is just a little sticky thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Kind of like when your credit card comes, there's a little gummy. And so you can buy those, stick it on the
Napkin ring.
napkin ring, and then black, white, and beige are wonderful. But then when you add a little pop of color, look what it does.
That's so pretty. Let's show everyone how nice that is. Very inexpensive. So it sounds like what you want to do when you're planning a wedding on a budget, spend some time at the craft store. Look around. Be creative. And these are great ideas, Marianne. Little things that you can do to make it look beautiful. And I have to say, it looks beautiful.
Thank you so much.
It really does. And you didn't spend a
A lot
fortune.
of fun, doesn't cost a lot.
Doesn't cost a lot. Dollar store, that's your friend too. And all these ideas and suggestions will be on our website. For a copy of these tips, visit our website, mymassivefield.com later today and start planning.